Okay, log into your Google Classroom and click on our Access topic on the side, Access Mod 1. And we're going to go ahead and I need you to download the data file under the Access Tutorial Part 2. So click on it to download it. And then we'll just keep it in our downloads folder until we need it here shortly. So we'll get it downloaded. It's a spreadsheet, and it works hand in hand with Access, as you will see here in a minute. So we'll go ahead and close all of this down. Now your next step is to find your Access file and go ahead and get it open. You probably will need to download it, possibly from your Google Drive, but go ahead and do that. Notice I clicked the Enable button. You need to do that before you do anything within Access. Otherwise, things don't work very well. Okay, so we have our table that we created in Part 1. And let's go ahead and open it up and look at it. You can double click between the field names up here just like you would in a spreadsheet if you need to make a best fit so you can see all of your data. We have all of our records sorted in ascending order. And I'm going to go ahead and hit close here and save my changes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and go to our external data tab. And what we'll do is import that spreadsheet that we just downloaded. Then we'll go in and we'll fix the field names and do the different definitions that we need to do for those items. So I'm on the external data tab. Click that. And there's two different sides of the ribbon. There's an import and an export. We want to be on the import side. Click Excel. And it brings up this dialog box where we can browse to find the file that we downloaded. We'll go to Downloads and double click Account is the name of the file that we're importing. Right here we are going to import the source data into a new table. We don't want to do it into the existing table, otherwise we'll have a big mess. So leave this button selected and we'll click OK. We want to click First Row Contains Column Headings so that it knows that these are going to be our field names. And we'll go ahead and click Next. And we'll click Next one more time. We want to choose our own primary key. If we let Access do that, we're going to get this field called ID that we'd have to delete later. So we'll click Choose My Own Primary Key. And we do want account number to be our primary key, so we'll go ahead and click Next. And we're going to call this table, let's see, what is this table supposed to be called? I guess it's supposed to be called Account, so we'll just type in Account. And then click Finish. We don't need to save the import steps. We'll say Close. Okay, so here we have our new table called Account. If we open it up, it looks like this. We didn't have to type any of that data in. It came in as a data file through that spreadsheet, which is kind of nice. That saved you a lot of time. So I'm going ahead and I'm double clicking these areas here, these fields, to do a best fit. Okay, I'm going to go to my File tab, or I guess Home is where I want to go. And I'm going to choose View and go to Design View. So in Design View you can see our field names and our data types here. And we just want to make sure that they're set up the way we want them to be set up. And I'm on page AC31, so let's compare what we have with what it should be. So there is an example of the structure of the account table. Account number, they want it to be short text. The field size should be 5, so we'll go ahead and change this to 5. In the description, we can type primary key. And if you want to, I'm not going to type the rest of the information there that is showing, which says account number, 2 uppercase letters followed by 3-digit number. We are going to go down and change the caption though to AC and the number sign. Okay, let's go ahead and look at account name and make sure that it's also set up with a field size change of 30. Street's supposed to be 20. And again, I'm just looking at the information provided on AC31. City should be 20. State will most likely be 2. Yep. Postal code's going to be 5. Amount paid should be currency, and so should current due. And the account manager number is going to be short text, and the field size should be 2. They want a caption for this down here as AM number. Okay, so let's go back to view. We'll save it. It says some data will be lost. Don't worry about that. It will be fine. I think it's just because we limited some of those field names or field sizes. So we'll click yes, and here's our table. Okay, so we've got our table set up. Let's go ahead and close that table. We have our 2 tables over here in our object pane. We're going to take the time now to do what's called a query. And a query is where we ask a database or a table questions. Like we want it to find information without us having to go through line by line and find it ourselves. So we're going to click on the account table here in the object pane and go to create. And we're going to click on the query wizard. And we're going to choose Simple Query Wizard, so click OK. So notice here on the side we have our fields, a list of all of our fields for the table account. And we can choose the fields that we want it to pick out. So we'll go ahead and double click account number, account name, amount paid, current due, and account manager number. Now if you want to follow along in the book, I'm on pages AC 34 and 35. Okay, I'm going to click next, and we'll go to detail and click next. Account query is the name of our query, and I think we'll keep it as that, and we'll click finish. Okay, so this query looks a lot like a table, doesn't it? Because it has columns and rows. The only difference here is it only has the fields that we asked it to put in there. It doesn't have all of the fields that are in the account table. Notice also down here we have in our object pane the query that we just created. So we have our 2 tables underneath a caption called tables, and then our query. So we're going to go to home right now, and we're going to go into a design view. We can do the same thing with a query that we can with a table. So we're going to go to design view, and this looks a little different, doesn't it? Click on the account table here that appeared, and we're going to resize it so that we can see all of our fields. So you click in the corner and grab it and just drag it down so you can see everything. Okay, so here are the fields that are in our query already, and we're going to limit our criteria here to just account managers, the account manager number 35. So let's take a look at this grid. the first row has the field names. The second row says what table those fields are coming from. The third row allows us to do a sort if we wanted to do that. This row where it says show and we have all the check marks here, we can hide these fields when we go to show it, when we go into Datasheet View if we want to. We're going to leave them on. This row that says criteria is the row that's most important at this point. We want to go to the field called Account Manager Number, and in the criteria row underneath the check mark we're going to type in 35. So what we're telling it to do is go to the field Account Manager Number and find the number 35. So I'm going to go back up to our ribbon. I'm going to click on the View button and go to Datasheet View. And notice that it just found information that is related to our manager number 35. These are the account names that that manager is in charge of. The customers' numbers are right here, and what they've paid us already is listed, and the current due is also listed. So again, the manager number 35 is the one in charge of these accounts. So we're going to go ahead and I think we'll save this so that we have it in the book. The book doesn't have you do any saving. So I'll go to File, and I'm going to go to Save. And okay, what we did is we just saved Account Query as with this particular criteria in it. So I'm going to go back to Design View. I'm going to take out that 35. I'm going to click View and see everything's there. I'm going to go ahead and go up to the corner up here, the Save button. Go back to our Design View, type in 35, and instead of File Save, I'm going to go Save As, like I should have done in the first place. Save Object As, and we're going to go Save As. There's a lot of steps to this. We're going to call it AM35 and click OK. So now we have the query that we just limited to the account manager number 35. Let's go ahead and close that. So we see our queries here on the side. Okay, then we're going to go to Create. We're going to do a form. And we're going to do a form off of the account table, so make sure that's highlighted. And this is really easy. All you have to do is press the button called Form, and it makes a form. And it puts all the fields in there in what's called Form View. Let's go to the View button, and right now we're in Layout View, which doesn't allow us to do any editing, but if I click on Form View, you can see down here at the bottom where I'm on record 1 of 15, and I can move through those records like so, just using those arrows. I can go Previous Record and Next Record down there. So that's how you can navigate through them. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close this, and it'll prompt us to save it, and we'll say yes, and we'll keep the form name as account and then click OK. So notice over here in our object pane we have a form that is listed underneath a caption or a heading called Form. Our final task is to create a report. So let's go ahead, make sure Account is selected. We'll go to Create, and we're going to do this from the Report Wizard. So make sure you click the Report Wizard button. What we want in this report is for the account number to show, so you can double click that. We want the account name, the amount paid, the current due, and the account manager number. So once we get those in, click Next and Next. We don't want to sort by any field, but we could at this point. We'll go Next. We'll keep it as tabular and in portrait. Next. And we want the title to be Account Financial Report. Oops. Then we'll click Finish. Okay, so we have this report and we have things kind of squished together. So we're going to go in and do some manipulation of, we're going to move some of these things around so it's easier to read. Click the Close Print Preview and then click the View button over here, and we're going to go to Layout View. Okay, so notice when you click in these fields you get these little boxes that show up. Okay, amount paid, there's quite a bit of space here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the field name, I'm going to move that over, and then I'm going to move the data over that fits underneath that field, like so. I'm going to do the same thing with current due. Maybe move this over a little bit, and do the same thing with its data. And that will allow me to move this over so that things are not so close together. Okay, so we have the information that we want to give. Usually you create a report to hand to your manager or your boss, or to hand out at a business meeting. It's got all the information that you might need. For instance, if I were looking at this, I could see the accounts, what they owe us still, and I can also see who's responsible for collecting that, which would be in this column, our managers. So it's pretty good information. Let's click in the Current Due column and go up to, let's look at Format or Arrange or Design. It's on the Design tab. We want to do a total so that we know from all of our clients how much money all of our clients owe us. So click in this column so it's selected or highlighted, and then go to the Tools or the Totals button up here, and we want to sum that column. So now we see that over $36,000 is out there that is still owed us by our accounts. And then let's click in the amount paid and do the same, and this will give us a total for what they've paid us so far, probably in the year. So now we have a report, we have our totals, our account names, and the managers that are responsible for each of those accounts. But if I were looking at this report right now, I would not know possibly what AC number stands for or AM number. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click on the field caption. I'm going to expand the box a little bit and go in there and modify this and type in account number. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, and we'll change this to account manager number. Okay, and obviously I need a little bit wider heading, so I can just resize it and make it work the way I want to. Okay, I might want to move account name down a little bit, like so, and amount paid. Try to get them on an even line. Okay, so we'll go ahead and close this report, and of course say yes, we want to save it. And now over here in our object pane we have a report that we just finished. We have our form, we have 2 queries and 2 tables. So we just finished our first real-life database. Go ahead and close it and upload it to Google Classroom.